Welcome back to the Critics Corner. I'm Andrew Branca with the Waxahachie Sun. I'm here with fellow movie lover and aficionado, Mr. David Dunn with Southlake Style Magazine. We have another treat for you guys here today. It's the sci-fi epic Dune. So before we get into the review today, check out this trailer for the movie Dune.
There's something happening to me. There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it.
What did you see?
There's a crusade coming.
Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them?
Yes.
The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die.
What's in the box?
Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
He'll lose that one too. Arrakis is a death trap.
I'll kill him. This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do?
I know you.
One day, the legend will be born. All of civilization depends on it.
The future. I can see it. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
My Lord Duke.
Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
Go, go, go!
I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. So, David, tell us a little bit about Dune. I believe this is the second, third version of this that has come out. I know there was a mini series of it in the early 2000s, and there was one in the 80s. So, I guess
Yes,
this is
sir.
the third time.
Yes, sir. There was originally the 1984 science fiction film directed by David Lynch, and then there was the eponymous miniseries of the same name. But this is the newest iteration. This is Dune for the modern age. I would say probably in its most authentic form. The story follows this house called this House of Atreides. In the future, in the far future, there are several different houses that kind of manage and own and kind of oversee several different planets. The House of Atreides is awarded this planet called Arrakis, which is a desert planet that produces one of the most valuable elements in the universe, which is the spice of Arrakis. Basically, the spice could be used to grant longer life. Some people use it as like a hallucinogen. But one of its most useful forms is to be used for international space travel. So obviously Spice Arrakis is a pretty big deal in this universe. A lot of warring factions are kind of fighting over it. And the House of Atreides is kind of tentpoled in the middle of this sprawling sort of conflict. So going into this, Andy, I was very much looking forward to it, but this movie did have a little bit of a twinge of concern for me, because this is one of the few titles that has been widely considered to be unfilmable, kind of similar to Life of Pi several years ago. Dune is a mesmerizing and very, very dense science fiction series written by Frank Herbert that has a lot of moving pieces in it. It has a lot of exposition. It has a lot of lore. It has a lot of characters. It has a lot going on. So making a single kind of movie based off of this already seemed like a very, very lofty kind of goal. And the best thing I think you can say about this movie, Andy, is that they adapted Frank Herbert's original series very, very, very well here. Dune is... I can't even summarize the words for it. It's mesmerizing. It's awe-inspiring. It's visually dynamic. It's easily one of the most technically impressive feats I've ever seen in the theaters. You know, going into this, people have said this is kind of like the 21st century's Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but from the visual standpoint, from the aspect of just experiencing it in theaters, having the whole, kind of immersion wash over you, I definitely think that's a very, very fair comparison. Everything from the cinematography from Greg Fraser to the immersive sound quality to the incredible visual effects to the really moving and just mesmerizing score by Hans Zimmer. Everything about it is just fully immersive and so jaw-droppingly amazing. I kind of feel like this movie, comparatively wise, last time I felt like this in a movie was either Avatar or 1917. Like, just the sheer experience overall is just eye-popping.
No, I think you're right on most of that. For me, watching Dune, I've never, I heard about it growing up. But I was more into, Star Wars, Star Trek. I never really got into Dune a whole lot. I mean, I read a lot of Jules Verne, his kind of sci-fi, that kind of thing. But and I was also interested in like the NASA missions, reading about Apollo 13 or Gemini or stuff like that. So I was really interested in space and stuff like that. But I heard of Dune, it just never really captured my attention. I guess watching it now kind of makes me want to read the book just to see what he put in there and what they unfortunately had to leave out, which, with anything, it's probably some elements to the story that ended up on the cutting room floor, so to speak. It was interesting, very captivating. One thing I found interesting is the author of this series of books definitely borrowed a lot from William Shakespeare. You look at plays like Hamlet and Macbeth. There's several others that you could look into this and say, wow, just the story elements there. He borrowed from this and this and this. Hamlet definitely comes to mind. At one point, the main character, Paul, is carrying the signet ring of his dad, and Hamlet did that. You have the elements of like the fallen king, the royal kind of rumble between factions and stuff like that, the intrigue, the deceit, the use of witches, so to speak. I mean, that was big in Shakespearean plays, and I've seen a lot of them. I'm a big Shakespeare nut. But that's definitely present in Dune. It does have that feeling of even the rhythm of how the actors go about saying certain things at certain times, that kind of ionic pentameter kind of speak. So there's a lot of comparisons there, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But the part I didn't like too much, and you're probably gonna kill me, is I didn't like the person they cast as Paul in this. I didn't think he was a good fit, personally.
Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. I want to stick on the influences behind Dune for a second. Yes, I think you can definitely say this movie is very Shakespearean. I've heard some reviewers kind of call this as intergalactic Game of Thrones, and I do think that's kind of fair. It does have this very epic, this very grand scale, this kind of emotional and really kind of dramatic tone to this story about, like you said, betrayal, loyalty, love, power, the political forces behind the scenes, genocide. Like it's a very, I'm really impressed at how much they're able to pack into this story, because it would have been way too easy to just kind of dump the story aside and kind of just throw in the visual effects and call it a day. But director Denis Villeneux really took his time with this story. He originally pitched this as a part one, and even when you open up on the credits, it does show part one. And part two, when it comes out in 2023, thank God, we'll kind of wrap up the story. But it really does seem like a well-rounded kind of epic, gargantuan sort of story being brought to us. It does feel similar to Lord of the Rings in the aspect of this is only one part of the story. It is not complete. There is more to tell, and more is obviously going to come.
Yeah, it felt like Fellowship of the Ring going into like the Return of the King. I mean, there was definitely that. You could see the flow with the story going into there, and that was definitely present here with that.
Which leading into that, going into the characters. I love the whole cast in this movie. I think Stellan Skarsgård especially stands out as the movie's villain. Love Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Jason Momoa, Javier Bardem. I think they're all great in there. Zendaya is good in the movie, but she doesn't appear in it that much. She mainly appears through visions, so we'll obviously see a lot more of her.
Even Dave Bautista. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Dave Bautista too. We need to see more of him for sure. Which then leads you into the lead. Timothée Chalamet playing Paul Atreides. I thought he was very, very good. I think he feels like a younger character. He feels like a whole world is on his shoulders, literally. He kind of has the pressure of an entire kingdom behind him. And it feels like a burden to him. He was earlier in the movie. He tells his dad, he doesn't really know if he's ready to be king, to be the head of House Atreides. And what does his dad say? He says, good men do not seek to lead, they're called to it. You definitely feel like this character is called to lead, from the growth of progression you see from him being just this, a simple kid in the beginning to, by the end of it, I'm not spoiling it, but by the end, beginning to grow into a man. I thought Timothée Chalamet was amazing in this movie, and I have no idea why you don't like him.
I'm not saying he was horrible in this role. I just felt like that there are certain points in the film that he definitely seemed kind of bored on camera. I also felt maybe a few years older would have been a little bit better. It just seems like he didn't fit in this to me.
I completely disagree because for me, so what I see this story as, I see it as a coming of age story. I see it as a character kind of entering this world as kind of more naive or more simple-minded. And through the struggles and conflicts of this story, he begins to grow into a man like his father was. So with that, you do kind of need a younger actor. And I think Timothée Chalamet kind of really like it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I can see your point definitely, but I mean, for me, it felt like that to me. But I'm not saying he didn't do a horrible. I'm not saying he did a bad job or anything. It's just if I was the casting guy, I would probably have picked somebody a little bit older. I guess that's just personal taste.
Well,
I thought they had a great supporting cast.
Yeah,
backing up the main characters, which that is definitely also a huge help.
Which speaking of the supporting cast for a second, I really am surprised at how much everybody kind of holds their own. Like especially Jason Momoa. Whenever he was cast in this movie, they were like Jason Momoa alongside Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, and Stellan Skarsgård. Really? But
when you have Stephen McKinley in there too. I mean,
yeah. But literally, everybody was great in the movie. I literally don't think there was a single. I've been saying this a lot this year, but I mean it. There was not a wasted role in here. Everybody was excellent. Everybody served the role they needed to. My only complaint, if anything, is I feel like we didn't get enough of some characters, like Zendaya, like Javier Bardem,
and Josh Brolin's character.
Yeah, but this is part one. You're supposed to build up into something bigger into part two, and I'm very much looking to forward to part two because this movie is amazing. It's very rare to find a movie like this where it's very well fleshed out on the story front as much as it is on the technical front. Because on the story front, it's obviously very in-depth. It's very intriguing. It does really lend itself to this lore building and universe building that the book does. But the technical craft is, I would say, perfect. And it's not very often where I use movies in a definitive term like that. But on the technical front, this movie is perfect. I can't think of a single flaw on the technical front on it. It's just, it's flawless from the visual effects to the cinematography, to the music, to the editing. It's seamless. It's completely and utterly perfection.
Well, and there was also an interesting part in this film where he the author and the screenwriters, they blended in a lot of like Middle Eastern elements to this movie, which I thought that was masterful. I thought that was great, and just to develop this culture of the people on this planet that they're on, and just to bring that vibe into the story. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and that's what I love. And that's another thing I love about this movie is that you get all the information you need to get about all of the players involved, and you're not confused at any point, whether it's the House of Atreides, the Harkonnen, or the Fremen, or anybody else. You understand where everybody is coming from. You understand the differences everybody has, and you understand what their part is in this. For a 2.5-hour epic with this large of a cast, that's not an easy feat. And the fact that Denis Villeneux was able to pull that off is just mind-blowing to me.
No, I mean, I thought it was good. I do look forward to the next film, and just what's interesting is, I don't know, this has been out for maybe a week or so.
Mhm.
and it's already. I got this stat today. It's already worldwide. It's already over 223 million at the box office.
It deserves it, man. It's such a masterful picture.
And they've already confirmed. Legendary Pictures have already confirmed a Dune, part 2. So that's definitely going to be here for 2023.
Absolutely, man. If this didn't get a part 2, I would lose my mind.
So that brings us to our where we need to rate this film at today. So what do you think here on a scale of 1 to 10?
10. Okay, I was thinking a 9.5 because it's part 1, but honestly, if they keep up the quality of acting, of storytelling, of writing, of directing, of cinematography, of visual effects, if they continue everything they did in this movie seamlessly into part 2, we do have one of the best science fiction epics ever made of all time. So obviously, rating this, I feel like, is kind of unfair because it really does. You really do need both parts to have the complete whole. But in terms of one thing blending into the second part, I would say a 10.
Well, I think you're going to hate me for what I'm going to say on my rating of Dune. I give it somewhere between a 7 and an 8.
I was hoping at least an 8, so I will take that as a win. If you gave it a 7, we're fine. You gave it an 8. It's fine. You gave it an 8, and that's fair.
And it's just from my perspective. I'm not saying it was bad or anything, but there's just a few things in there that I think they could tweak a little bit more to make it a little bit better.
Anything past Timothée Chalamet?
Yeah, I would say maybe tightening up the narrative maybe a little bit more. I think. I mean, I get that Paul's character has these visions and things like that. I think those could have been a little bit more concise.
I disagree, and considering how much content they have to pack in this movie, Dune is a huge book. It's like a 300-page book.
True.
So, but I can absolutely understand that. If you are not into the slow burn kind of movie making that Denis Villeneux is familiar with, then obviously this won't appeal to you at the same level of like a Star Wars or a Jurassic Park movie.
Oh no, and it's not meant for that. And
right,
you've given me crap about my feelings on his movies before, like Blade 2049.
Blade 2049 is an amazing
movie.
You have no right to dislike that.
Never go see that movie. It's terrible. Go see the original.
It's a masterpiece.
So
go watch it. It's better than the original.
No. And you're probably the type of person that eats spam with spray cheese. So don't listen to you on that.
I hate cheese. What kind of a comment is that? I hate cheese. You know this.
You'd eat cheese in front of me just to be annoying. So yeah.
I would eat spam though, because spam is delicious, and Blade Runner 2049 is amazing.
No, okay, we're going to agree to disagree on that. But this, I would definitely watch again.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually considering going to watch it again in theaters.
So, well, I got to ask. You said you brought your girlfriend to go see this. So, what did she think?
She loved it too. She gave it a solid 9.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Well, that's gonna wrap up this edition of the Critics Corner. So if you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions, or just want to tell me how wrong I am, I will be glad to disagree with you on that. So
it's often. It's very, very often.
No, it's not. And Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So that's gonna wrap up this week's edition. So we'll see you guys back here next week at the corner, unless David has a aneurysm from that last comment. So
see y'all next week. And Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
Yes, it is. See you guys next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.